What's up guys, Enjoy here. Today's video is gonna be about the combat of Blade and Soul. I'm gonna try to make this video in one take, so bear with me. So Blade and Soul's combat is a unique action-based combat. The aiming itself is soft targeting, which means that when you get your cursor near to an enemy, all your attacks will automatically home into that enemy. So basically you are locked into that enemy. So you still have to aim, but the hitbox is actually bigger than the enemy is. As you can see, my cursor is in the middle of the screen, and when I get it closer to the enemy, it will lock onto the enemy. I need to get closer, I'm out of range. As you can see, the little square around the enemy tells me that I'm locked, and when I move it further, the square goes off. So basically the hitbox is around this size, which is enough aiming for the type of combat that the rest of Blade and Soul combat is. And the complexity comes from a lot of things, and the first thing is blocking. Blocking makes the combat extremely reactive. You have to always think, when do you need to block, what ability you want to block, and do you even want to block, because there's abilities that counters blocks, that will, if you use a block, it will, for example, stun you or knock you down if the enemy is fast enough to use it. So using block alone is really tactical. You really need to know when to use it and when not to use it. The other part of the complexity and what makes Blade and Soul's combat nice is the combo system. It's when combined, like if you use one skill and then another skill, something will happen. But if you use one skill, then another skill, and then another skill, perhaps something else will happen. And as you can see from the, let's just go over the abilities, and then when we go to the ability book, I can tell you exactly how they work. So my abilities are, this is a grapple. I can grapple enemies, like in a fighting game, for example, Tekken or Street Fighter. And then I can do some abilities when I have grappled my enemies. And to be able to, like, if you watch the ability description, you can see the requirement. So to be able to grapple someone, you need to meet one of each requirement. So that's why the combat is so reactive. You only have small windows when those requirements are actually active, and you have to take full advantage of those. So yeah, this is my grapple, and in Blade of Soul I have to tell you this one too quickly. One ability slot in one keybind can have multiple abilities, but it will change depending on the situation. So this tab, the tab is grapple, but if I'm far away from an enemy and I target him, this changes into a charge. I can try to show you real quick. As you can see, it says grapple on the tab ability. I'm actually getting attacked. Let's see if I can show you on this. Now it's changed to leaping strike. I can show you grapple. This is basically grapple, and I can hit him. Okay. The next ability is Explosive Fist, which is basically just a single target spammable nuke. Not spammable, but reusable nuke. It's just a basic damage ability when you're not using your ability that your resource. This is an AoE knockdown, and if you remember, grapple required an enemy to be groggy or stunned, and him being knocked down fills those requirements, so I can knock. That's how I did to the last enemy. I knock him down and then I can use grapple. So that's how you combo abilities basically. This knocks him down, which enables this, and then you can use it. My next ability is a high cooldown nuke ability, and this also represents another style of abilities in Blade and Soul. Some abilities will change depending how many times you use them, one after each other, which is again basically like fighting games. In fighting games, when you use square, you use square one time, it does one strike. When you use it 2 times, it might do a combo. When you use it 3 times, it might do a different combo. So basically, this is the same thing. When I use this ability once, it has a 0.7 second casting time, and if I use it after that again, it has a 0 cooldown, 0 casting time. Basically, it's instant cast. So yeah, there's a lot of abilities that change after you use them a lot of times repeatedly. This is a knockback with a knockaway, which again enables me to grapple enemies. I don't have all abilities because I'm only level 14. Sorry, you can see the level here. And this is basically my resource regenerating attack. This is what I regen my resource with. I can show you the big nuke, how the ability changes after the second cast. You will see that first I have a casting time, and the second time it will be instant. Casting time, instant. And that's a reactive ability actually. After I parried, you get some abilities activates depending on what's happening to you or what you do. And that was because I parried, I got that reactive ability. If I was countering it, I would have got another different reactive ability out of it. So now we can go into the skill book and actually go a little bit more in depth to see how the combat works. This tells you the keybind basically. This is left button, left mouse button, right mouse button, F, tab, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And as you can see, you have a lot of abilities on one keybind, but that doesn't mean that you can swap them. Like I can't take this one and swap it with this one. I have all these abilities at my disposal, but all of these abilities require some types of situation to be usable. Not all of them, but some of them. Usually the first one is the one that is always active and usable, and the other ones are like reactive abilities. Like this is, for example, my resource regenerating strike that I did, that I can spam over and over again. Like you can see, chi points regen 1, and my left button can also activate these abilities if the requirements are met. For example, trample, requirement against knocked down enemy. If an enemy is knocked down and I'm next to him, this will change into this. And for example, barrage, however you pronounce it, requirement against grappled enemy. So when I have grappled him, this is the grapple, which also requires something which makes the combat so complex. To even be able to use this, I need to use something that enables me to grapple, and then I can use this. As you can see, that shows like a lot of the complexity of the combat. Like what ability do you want to use and what ability you want to use after one ability, because using one ability and then using one ability after that can result in a different effect than using one ability and then using another different ability after that. And then we have Dropkick, which is usable while I'm sprinting. So basically this is a fight starting ability, because you cannot sprint while in combat. So when you going into the fight, you can sprint, then use this, and after you're fighting normally, this will change into this again. It's the same thing with right mouse button. Normally it's a charge which regenerates resource again. Resource is called chi in this game. But if the enemy is blocking, for example, the same ability will change into triple kick. This will change into triple kick. Or if I have dodged or sidestepped an attack. And there's a lot of, as you can see, of course, there's a lot that I haven't unlocked yet, and I don't even know about these effects. So I'm already mind blown with the complexity of the combat, and I don't even know half of it. And we have the same thing with basically all of the abilities. Oh, I want to show you the F ability, because that's a pretty interesting one. As you can see, you have a lot of skills in this game that you don't see on your action bar, for example, that are not here at all, that are only reactive abilities. For example, the F slot is always that. There's never gonna be a slot for the F skill. It's only gonna be a reactive skill. For example, this requires the enemy to be groggy, stunned or paralyzed, or against a grappled enemy. This requires that I have countered the enemy. This is the counter. The 1 second window, I need to counter one enemy attack, then that one skill becomes usable. This is after casting triple kick. So this again shows how much complexity the combat has. If you remember triple kick, it also required a situation to be even usable. So this this creates like combos. If an enemy is blocking, you can use triple kick, and right after triple kick you can use crushing strike, for example. That could be one of your combos, depending on the situation, of course. And then F can be also backflip, which is like a CC break, and the requirement is while knocked down, groggy or unconscious. And it doesn't say while enemy knocked down, it says while knocked down, which means while I am knocked down. So yeah, basically that's how the combat works. And a lot of these skills has customization too, like own talent trees. Not all of them. Usually the top abilities are usually the main abilities. They are usually the ones, except F, they are usually the ones that gonna be on your action bar. And here you can say tab. Tab is pretty interesting. Here it's grapple, but if I target an enemy, it would become leaping strike. And if I'm CC'd, suddenly it becomes a CC break. So it's a really neat system, and that just makes you have to be like so aware all the time what is happening, because your skills will change all the time, whatever is happening. This can become grapple, this can become leap strike, this can become escape, F can become tiger strike, arrow mountain, crushing strike, backflip. You have to be ready for those procs and those like situations to happen. For example, the F abilities, they're not long on your screen. They come up for like 2 seconds. You only have a 2-second window to use them, because the requirement is only meant for like 2 seconds usually. So it's a really really reactive combat and really like puts a lot of pressure on your brain. After I've done some combat in this game, it actually feel like I've done some math or something, some math equations or whatever. Alright guys, sorry for the video cutting. For some reason the video software stopped recording, I don't know why. Anyways, I wanted to show you the combat in action. I just explained how it works and where the complexity of the combat comes from, but now I want to show the combat in action, especially show you some reactive abilities and some combos and stuff like that. What I'm gonna show you first is my favorite combo, which is gonna have to be me first countering the enemy attack, which will give me a reactive ability here, F ability if you remember. The F ability will knock back the enemy and knock him down. After that I'm gonna use my charge to charge to the enemy, and while he's still knocked down, that will proc another reactive ability, another F ability that will allow me to do like a wrestling jump, or either just grapple the enemy. So I'm gonna try to do it on this target, and keep in mind I'm playing on a Taiwanese server, so I have quite high latency and I have like a delay on every single ability, and landing this counter is pretty hard. It's a 1 second window and I have quite a bit of delay, so bear with me if I don't get it at the first time. I'm gonna try to pull him away from the cliff. Okay, didn't get it this time. There we go, knock back, charge and leap. So that was me blocking, doing the knockback, charging and then leaping, all from one counter. That whole combo is only possible from the counter. So countering is very important in this game. I can do the same without the jump and just grappling the enemy like this, then hit him in the face. So yeah, that's my favorite combo, and I'm only level 14, so I don't have many combos yet, and basically that's my favorite one. I'm gonna show you another way to proc a grapple, for example, and I'm gonna show you another thing that prevents me I'm gonna show you how the latency actually prevents me from playing this game properly. Now I'm gonna show you the variation of getting a grapple. That's the other one that I just showed you with the block and the knockback and charge, and then either the wrestling jump or the grapple. That's one variation of grapple, and this is just a more simple version to grapple. You just knock down the enemy and grapple. You can hit him one time, then press your number 2 and do your combo. And now I'm gonna show you how I cannot play properly with my MS. I'm gonna use my number 5, as you can see on my ability bar. It's a knockback and a knockdown, but the knockdown is it doesn't last long, so I don't have time to charge to the target and then use my reactive F ability. Even though I can see the icon, I cannot use it because there's a delay and the server doesn't have time to register the actual attack, which makes me kinda sad, and I cannot wait for the NA and EU release. So there we go, here we go. Charge. Oh my god, I couldn't charge. Charge didn't work for some reason. Let me just reset this fight, so I can show you another variation for grappling an enemy, but I cannot do it because of the latency. So this, I just showing this because I just want to tell you that this game is pretty latency sensitive. So keep your eyes on this part here. I will knock back the enemy, I will charge to him, you will see the reactive ability, you will hear me spam it, but nothing will happen because of latency. So this game is pretty latency reliant. So let's go. Gonna knock him back, charge. My charge didn't work. Once again, my charge didn't work. Sometimes the lag is just really bad. As you can see, that knockdown didn't work either. Let's just wait for the cooldown. Four seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and 1 second. Let's do it now. Knock him back, charge, now it works. And the F, you saw the F, I spammed it, nothing happened. Alright, another thing that I wanted to show you, and basically the last thing, is how the reactive abilities works when someone is blocking, for example. That's why you really need to think if you want to even block yourself. I'm gonna wait until this mob starts blocking, and then you will see my RB ability. My RB ability, as you can see, will change when he's blocking. So I'm gonna try to get him to block. I don't think he's gonna block. He's too low HP. Let's pick another mob. Usually they should be blocking. So keep your eyes on my RB ability. As you can see on the bottom right of my ability bars. Hold on. That type of enemy doesn't block. I need the guy with the sword. That's the enemy who blocks. Blocked his ability, reactive ability. Now usually they start blocking. Now he blocks. That's a reactive ability, that's another reactive ability. So basically that's another combo that again happens just from one situation and one move that the other player makes in PvP. When I'm talking about the moves and stuff like that, I'm talking about PvP. So yeah, your enemy blocking can end up being you having a crazy combo after that. Sorry, my throat is sore. I'm kinda sick. But yeah, that's why you really need to think if you want to block or not, because the same thing can happen to you. Every class has counters to every single situation in the game. Every class has counters to being knocked down. Every class has counters to be stunned. Every class has counters to blocks, and so on. And you can counter their counter. Their counter is counterable. It's all about counters, and basically what makes the game, the combat and the PvP so enjoyable in this game compared to other MMOs, in my opinion, is that you cannot think ahead. You cannot think ahead almost at all. It's all really instant based and reaction based. Usually in other MMOs you might be casting one skill and then you think in your head like, yeah, after that I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. But in this game it doesn't work. You might be doing one skill and then you think in your head that, yeah, I'm gonna do this skill after that. But then suddenly your enemy starts blocking, and you have to counter that block to get another combo going. And maybe your enemy will counter your combo with a CC, and you have to use a CC break suddenly. Then you have to start blocking. And there's also dodges in the game that I forgot to show you guys. There's like the double tap backwards dodge, like that, which also helps, like makes the combat more action based and more in depth in my opinion. And there's side dodges like this, and that's a reactive ability that always happens when I parry an attack. And parrying is not the same as countering. As you can see, this is a different one. Let me show you the reactive abilities. Come on, parry. That's the side dodge. And when you dodge, actually dodge an ability, you get 5% movement speed and something else. I don't remember what. And that's my favorite combo. Because I'm level 14 and that's a pretty complex combo for level 14. I have to first counter, knock them back, charge after them, and then use a reactive ability again. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Blade and Soul combat. And I'm gonna try to level up, and then I'm gonna do some I'm gonna show you some PvP videos, and I might even upload a highlight of my little PvP fights I had on my stream. There were like level 5 to level 10 PvP fights, open world PvP fights, but even those levels fights already told me how complex the game is. Like I said, after each combat, your brains feel like you just did like a crazy math equation. Like your brain has to be so reactive and so responsive all the time, and I've never had this feeling in a MMORPG. So yeah guys, this is it for this video. I'm gonna bring you more videos about Blade and Soul and Wildstar, and possibly any upcoming MMORPGs that caught my attention, or any RPGs for that matter. So yeah, if you enjoyed these videos and you like the content, just hit that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it guys. So yeah, see you next time.